If someone were to ask me, Josh, what is the best sandwich in the world? What's your favorite? I'd say this. I think a great fried chicken sandwich shouldn't just be crunchy, it should be coated in a luxurious, glossy, sweet, spicy, salty sauce that makes you want to go back for another bite. Perfectly cooked fatty chicken thigh, not breast, slaw, mayo, all topped off in a beautiful milk bun. It is an unbeatable combo. So let's make it, shall we? First, we're packing our chicken thighs full of flavor with a spicy marinade. Then for a nice little kick in the pants, we'll make our own pickled jalapenos in a refreshing kimchi slaw before finally frying our chicken to a crisp golden brown to then be coated with a luxurious, glistening glaze that will bring together a sandwich that I believe, if made correctly, is easily life-changing. Before we begin, I have an important announcement. A lot of people have asked me about this shirt, and yes, it is our merch. Merch is now live. The link is in the description if you'd like to get it. You guys are the first to see it. We have not announced it to the main channel yet, so this is your opportunity to get it before it sells out because these are gonna be super limited run. Bread on the back, bread in the front. It's chill. I've gotten a lot of compliments on it, I'm not gonna lie. We have this, we have my Need Salt shirt, which we all know I love salt. If you do, this is the shirt for you. And then we have our Smash or Pass shirt. We're talking about burgers here. And then of course we have a sick hat. Who doesn't need a sick hat? Again, the link's in the description. Go and get yourself some before they run out. I love you so much. Now on to the recipe. The chicken, very important. You can use boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Please do not use breast in this sandwich. I'm asking you because I'm your father. I prefer skin-on thighs. The only problem is some countries do this, others don't. In America, it's very hard to find boneless, skin-on chicken thighs. So if you can't find them, you're gonna have to debone them yourself. Or you can use skinless, but you're losing out on flavor. How do you debone a chicken thigh? It's really easy. Chicken thigh is 50% already deboned, in my opinion, because they've removed the legs. You can see the top part of the knuckle, the bone, and then the bottom part here. This is the bone. If you flip that bad boy upside down, you're gonna see that thing. It's right there. And this is what butchers do. Every chicken thigh, no matter which one you get, have a fat line that almost indicate where that bone runs. See that fat line? Bone is running there. End of bone, line. End of bone, line. Pretty basic. So I want you to, with your knife, follow that fat line, and you'll feel the bone underneath there, and just follow all the way through to the other end. Like that. You're already exposing the bone. Now at this point, depends on how good you are. You can use the tip of your knife and kind of whittle around it, scraping. What I would recommend if you're new is use the back of your knife and just kind of scrape away at the bone. And that bone is gonna slowly reveal itself. The second trick is anytime you use your actual sharp blade of your knife, keep it pinned up against the bone the whole time, working your way around. Okay, now we're halfway out, right? I could literally, I don't even need to use my knife to get into this. You can take your finger and poke it underneath. All that's left is to remove what's attached. Scrape it down. We're almost there, look. This is all that's left attached. Obviously, the goal here is to keep as much meat on the actual chicken than the bone. Boom, completely deboned, one piece of chicken, skin on, fatty, juicy, squirt, squirt. Keep your bones, freeze them, and over time, you'll have plenty to make soup. Now repeat with the rest. Before you move on, just make sure there's no cartilage left, feel in there, looking good. The worst thing that can happen to you is spending this time serving this to somebody and then they bite into a chewy, crunchy piece of cartilage and then their tooth flies off into the distance and explodes. Not fun. Now, we're gonna marinate. Buttermilk, 1.5 cups. And then we have an array of different things. I would like for you to skip none of them. 2 tablespoons of any hot sauce. Pick your favorite. Sometimes your favorite is just what you have in the fridge, and that's okay. 1 teaspoon of fresh ground white pepper. 1 tablespoon, and this is the special piece here, gochujang. Yeah, sure, you could leave it out, but it is easily one of the biggest depth of flavor adds I can think of without being overwhelming. 1.5 teaspoons of probably my favorite ingredient, MSG. You can get this anywhere. You can get it online. Honestly, I would just go to Amazon and buy a big bag. You will probably not buy another bag for the next 15 years if you do that. There's also another brand I found in most grocery stores called Accent. That's really just MSG. 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of granulated sugar, and 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. And we'll whisk that till everything's thoroughly combined. The gochujang is a bit of a to get mixed up in there, so just keep whisking. It'll break up. Oh my God, this marinade tastes ridiculous. Now you might think this marinade is at the absolute, almost borderline limit of salt, and that's a good thing. That means that the inside of your fried chicken is actually going to be seasoned properly. So we're gonna add our chicken, massage it in there. Now this marinade makes enough for more than 4 pieces of chicken. You could put up to probably 6, maybe even 8. And yes, you can reuse this marinade up to 2 times. Okay, so wrap this in plastic wrap, pop this in the fridge, ideally overnight, but minimum about an hour. You can go out and buy pickles, sure. I respect that, except there's a big problem. Store-bought pickles are probably 25 to 50% less good than if you made them at home because they add preservatives and all sorts of things, and as they sit in those preservatives, they start to either lose flavor or they get kind of like weird chemically flavors that I personally don't like. But even better yet, when you make your own pickles, you can put whatever flavor you want to put in there. So, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of white distilled vinegar, tablespoon of kosher salt, and 3 tablespoons of sugar. So we're going for like a little bit of a sweeter, salty pickle. We're gonna put that on the stove over medium-high heat and just let that come up to a boil. Now, you can pickle cucumbers, but I'm pickling jalapenos because that's way cooler. You could literally take any raw vegetable, carrots, cucumbers, insert vegetable, and just gonna slice them about 1/4 of an inch thin. But Josh, what about the seeds? Look, you could de-seed this and slice this. The sweetness and the acid will help beat down some of that spiciness. So a pickled jalapeno is never even close to as spicy as it is when it's raw. So you're gonna slice 5 to 7 large jalapenos, depending on how big they are. These jalapenos are absolutely massive, so I'm probably gonna stick to 5. Really whatever fits neatly and tightly in a pint-sized container. I got a pint-sized mason jar. So we got all of our jalapenos. All right, those are gonna go into our jar. So you're gonna pack those in. Even if this is boiling, please make sure everything is dissolved. Okay, so this is at, a light simmer. It's not like a rolling boil, it doesn't matter. It just needs to be hot. You're gonna take that hot liquid and immediately pour it over your vegetables. Just until it covers. They're gonna float up, that's okay. Get yourself a spatula or a spoon, just kind of press down to make sure that they can submerge in that liquid. I do have a little secret here. To keep them submerged, take a little sheet of plastic wrap or like a paper towel, you're gonna place it on top and just gently press down. What will happen is the surface tension will sort of suction up all that hot liquid so that there's a tiny layer of it right above this. And just let that sit until room temperature. Once this reaches room temp, these are pickled. Now once that's cool, you're then gonna add 2 cloves of crushed garlic and a couple sprigs of fresh dill. Close the lid, pop it in your fridge, you have pickled jalapenos, which we'll use in a second. Chicken sauce. The beauty of this sauce is you do not have to heat it up. You could heat it up and reduce it if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. Garlic. Start with this. There's a way we're using this garlic. We're being very intentional with it. First of all, 4 cloves, okay? I want this very finely minced. Flat end of the knife. That's 75% of the way there already. Bring that together, and then all you gotta do is run your knife a few times through this bad boy. And after a few passes, you have a beautiful fine mince. Got a lot of sauces here, fellas. 1/4 cup of gochujang, absolute non-negotiable. Go to a Korean grocery store, go to 99 Ranch, get it on Amazon. Gochujang is probably one of my most favorite ingredients. It's like miso, but made with beautiful, luxurious, spicy peppers, and it's what creates the base of this sauce's flavor. 3 tablespoons of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of dark soy. If you don't have that, use regular soy sauce. 2 tablespoons of sweet soy sauce. This is really just like soy sauce that's been reduced with sugar. This you can also get at an Asian market. Again, if you can't find that, you could probably just do more soy sauce split with honey. Speaking of honey, 2 tablespoons of a nice light honey. This is wildflower honey, that's fancy. And 2 tablespoons of white distilled vinegar, a clean acid. And you're just gonna whisk that together beautifully until everything's completely smooth and incorporated. It's gonna go into a small pot. Don't worry, this is not gonna cook for hours and hours and hours. All we need to do is just reduce it a tiny bit so it clings to our chicken. Keep this bowl to the side, it's gonna go back in here. Set over medium-high heat and let that come up to a boil. You're just gonna let that boil for quite literally just 1 minute. That's enough to reduce it, get the sugars caramelized, then cut the heat off. Very, very, very important. Let the boiling subside. Do not have it on the heat. Once it is completely stopped bubbling, but it is still hot, you're then going to mix in your garlic. If you put the garlic in here and then boil it, it will become so intensely bitter, it will boggle your mind. You want the garlic to be 80% raw so that when it gets mixed with the chicken, there's no garlicky bitterness at all. It's nice and fragrant. So we got that hot boy. Garlic goes in, stir that in, make sure it gets nice and hydrated. That's done. Leave it, let it sit. We're making mayo. Actually, we're not making it this time. Normally I would make it, but Kewpie mayo has a specific flavor, and I imagine it's a fine balance of oil, egg yolk, and chemicals that makes it taste like that, and for some godforsaken reason, it is delicious on a sandwich like this. 1 cup of that, by the way. If you're already at an Asian market, this is where you can get it, but you can also use any mayo you want. But you could also make your own, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we're gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon of MSG. More garlic. 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, grated, add a tiny pinch of salt to taste, and some fresh cracked black pepper. Whisk together till thoroughly combined, and that is your mayo. Simple as that. I really did want to make my own mayo for this. I already know I'm gonna get comments. Josh, you didn't make your own mayo. Again, Kewpie really works for this, but I also was thinking, God, there's so many components to this sandwich that people need to make. So I'm trying to help you out. All right, now that the mayo's done, slaw. This cabbage worked hard to become what it is today. In order to honor it, please do not chop this any thicker than that of a piece of paper. The only way to really do that consistently, easily, is with a mandolin. But if you don't have a mandolin, you can also use a knife. It just takes longer. I'm also being a bit silly. It's okay if it's too thick. I just prefer it to be ultra thin. You can take a head of cabbage. You only need about half to a quarter of it because for some reason, every head of cabbage produces about 400,000 cups of sliced cabbage, then sliced in a quarter, right? We've now revealed essentially the core of it, and we're just gonna cut out that core. Just like that, okay? Now we have a coreless piece of cabbage. So set your mandolin to the thinnest setting that it will slice this bad boy. Take that bad boy onto your mandolin and slice it. Be careful, this is the most dangerous cooking apparatus in the world. I am afraid right now. Look how beautiful that is. When you slice cabbage properly, you will know because it looks like fresh shaved ice. Beautifully razor thin. So really you only need about 2 cups of cabbage, just to be specific. Josh, what do I do with the rest of the cabbage? Look, cabbage is like one of the best things ever. Literally just chop this up and throw it in a pan with oil, really high heat, sear it with salt and pepper and a little lemon juice, and it's absolutely delicious. We're ready to make the slaw, but wait. Slice your cabbage, put it in the fridge for now, because really all you need to do is mix stuff in here, and if you mix it now and then make the sandwich, it's gonna get all watery and so we're gonna mix this just before we put it on the sandwich. So that said, let's bread and fry. Very basic. Bowl, 2 cups all-purpose flour, half cup of potato starch. You could go all-purpose flour, but the potato starch is gonna add a little bit of crispiness. 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of MSG, 1 teaspoon cayenne, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, half teaspoon onion powder, and 2 teaspoons of black peppercorn, fresh ground. Whisk together till thoroughly combined. Now, new technique here. You're gonna take your now marinated chicken out, remove it from your marinade, drain off some of that excess. So before we bread these, you're gonna take this beautiful marinade. We're not gonna waste it, oh no. You're gonna take about a half cup of your dredge, and you're gonna whisk that into the marinade. And to the paste, you're gonna add 1 teaspoon of baking soda, whisk that in, and you have this sort of dip paste. Here's the key here. You take a little bit of this dip paste and just flick it into your dry. You want little tiny beads getting flicked in there. You do that a couple times. Stir it in, a couple more times. Now these little beads are gonna turn into clumps of flour that are gonna create the flakiness to the chicken, and this is gonna add a little extra crisp. Now we're ready to bread and fry. So we have a 2-stage breading setup. We have our dip and we have our flour dredge. So here's how you do it. Remember, wet hand, dry hand, or whichever one you want it to be. So I want my dominant hand to be my dry hand and my non-dominant to be my wet hand. Chicken into your dip. Okay, I want you to thoroughly coat that bad boy. And then into your flour, coat it generously. And you're literally going to press to get that to adhere to the chicken. Add it in. Get it under the skin as well. I want no unbreaded spots at all. Everything should be coated in breading. Then just repeat with the rest of your chicken. We're frying this twice to get it extra crispy. So first, we have a 7-quart pot filled with high heat oil. That can be vegetable oil, canola oil, avocado oil. Don't use olive oil. 3 to 3.5 quarts of oil. Heat that to 325 Fahrenheit. And then 1 to 2 pieces of chicken at a time. Going to drop that in. And we're just gonna let that fry till it's cooked through and you've got a little bit of breading going and you're gonna repeat with the rest of your chicken. Now once all that's fried, increase the heat to about 350 Fahrenheit and fry each piece 1 to 2 at a time until crisp and golden brown like this. Remove from the oil, drain, and then you're ready to sauce. All right, now we're assembling, so we're ready to make our slaw real quick just before we put our sandwiches together. We have our cut sliced cabbage. So you're gonna take 1 cup of kimchi and you're gonna squeeze it like it's that kid that made fun of you in high school to get as much of the liquid out as possible. Then you're gonna rough chop it, that goes in. You're gonna take some thinly sliced green onion, toss that together. 1 clove of garlic, grated. A lot of garlic in this. About 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons of Kewpie mayonnaise. And then you're just gonna toss that all together. I like to get in there with my hands. It's just so much easier to mix. Try not to bruise the cabbage too much. If it needs salt, you can add it. I kinda like this as it is. We have a beautiful, fresh, lightly creamy, acidic slaw. So to assemble chicken in the bowl, your gochujang sauce. Toss it in the sauce till thoroughly coated. Now to toast your buns, add a couple tablespoons of butter in a medium nonstick pan over medium heat, and add your buns cut side down and toast, moving around the pan until they're a nice golden brown. First you have your bottom toasted bun, add your garlic mayo, a little bit of your slaw, your glorious glazed chicken, your pickles, mayo your top bun, and crown this beast, this beauty of a king. Whoa. Holy that is obnoxiously good. This is toe curling. I'm gripping the inside of my shoes and tearing the soles out from the inside out from that bite. Oh, it's getting hot in here. I gotta take this off. That's better, now I can talk. If you like food or you like eating, our merchandising is here for you. Now, let's get back to the sandwich. This is by far my most favorite sandwich. And I'm not saying that to sound markety. I'm saying that because I finally have an answer to the question of what would be your last meal? And this would be the first thing I put in my mouth. Unbelievably crispy on the exterior, still, despite being sauced, yet lightly softened by the sauce in a desirable way. There's a little bit of chew now to that crunch. It's super, super, super umami driven. It's sweet, it's salty, it's lightly spicy. You get a little bit of acidity and a kick of spice from the jalapeno. You get creamy garlickiness from the mayo, and then that nice crunch from the cabbage. It's refreshing, it's comforting, and then a little bit of funk from the kimchi that's in there, not to mention the funk from the gochujang. This is the perfect fried chicken sandwich in my opinion. And yeah, it's basically a Korean fried chicken sandwich, but that doesn't mean that it's not the perfect fried chicken sandwich. Love you, bye, subscribe.